Hi, my name is Candace, aka Picasso Baby, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create your very own Cozy with Coco. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, thank you so much for stepping back by to paint with me today. And today we're going to be doing a date night painting. Now, we haven't done a date night painting in a while, so this is going to be a fun and simple one, perfect for the holiday. This painting is Cozy with Hot Chocolate. So as always, before we get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on your post notifications so that you do not miss the next tutorial. So before we get started, I'm going to go over everything that I'm going to be working with today. So as always, I'm using a 16 by 20 inch canvas, and we're going to be doing a little bit of drawing today. So you do want to make sure that you get yourself a pencil or a Sharpie. As you can see, I've already used a pencil, but I am going to use a Sharpie. That way you all can see it better and you can see exactly how I draw it out. Also, you want to make sure you have some different size acrylic brushes. You can use whatever sizes you like. You just want to make sure they're acrylic brushes. You want a cup of cold water to wash your brushes out in, and a rag or paper towel to dry them off. And then, of course, you want your paint. We are using acrylic paint, and we're using the colors titanium white, Mars black, phthalo blue, burnt sienna, bright red, and chrome yellow. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start by drawing out my sketch first. And again, you might be able to see my sketch. If not, I'm going to draw it in darker with my black Sharpie. Remember, you can draw it in pencil first and then Sharpie, or you can just use pencil and then paint. But we're going to go ahead and draw it in. So the first thing I want to do is I want my mugs to be in the center. So I'm going to do a bit of an oval. And I'm going to do another one right next to it. So those are going to end up being the tops of my mug. Now, for this mug here, the handle is going to come this way. So I am just going to simply pull out this line as if I'm going to start the handle. But I'm not going to start the handle just yet. I'm going to actually make a thumb above this handle. So right above the handle here, I'm going to draw my thumb. I'm going to start to pull it back. And then I'm going to pull it back off the canvas. So this is back towards the wrist area. I'm also going to add in some nails. So I'm just going to add a little nail there. Now for the fingers that are gripping the mug, right underneath here, I'm going to draw like a really wide oval almost. Those are going to be the fingers. I'm going to draw a few more right next to it. So I'm going to do 4 in total. And then a little pinky there. Now I'm going to go back in and add some little lines for nails. Now as far as the rest of the mug, so you see how we had the handle of the mug here? I am going to skip over the fingers, but I'm going to come right under the pinky and finish the handle of the mug off. And then I'm going to come over to the side here, so the side of the opening of the cup. I'm going to pull a line down, over, and then up. So now we have the whole mug, but we do need to finish off the hand. So right in front of the pinky nail, I am going to take a line. I'm going to curve that line up. And then I'm going to come back and pull out a line for the rest of the wrist. Now I'm also going to go back in on the thumb. And I'm going to pull a line up and over there. So now we have the first hand, which is more like the guy's hand or whoever's hand you want it to be. But we have that first hand done. Now we're going to come to this side, but we're going to do the hand a little bit different because it is showing different sides of the hands. So I'm going to start off with the handle of the mug again. I'm going to go over and then down just a little bit. Now the only difference this time is I'm going to actually go in here and down, so I'm mimicking this line. And from here, I am going to make a little curve to close that up. Now I want to go ahead and get the top of my hand done by simply starting at the top of the handle. And I'm going to pull this line over down at an angle, and then off the canvas. Now, again, this hand is gripping the mug a little bit differently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come behind the handle of the mug here. I'm going to curve over. And then I am going to draw the thumb. Now, I'm going to take this thumb line back into the hand that way. I'm going to go ahead and add a quick nail. Now again, this is going to be my lady's hand, so you can see my nail extended a little bit more. If you want to switch up the nails, remember it's completely up to you. Now from here, I'm going to go underneath my thumb. I'm going to go down and back into the hand. I'm going to do that twice. Down and back into the hand. I'm also going to make some little curves there for the nails. And then same thing, I'm coming back that we did over here. I'm coming back up to the handle. I'm going to skip over the hand, but I'm going to pick up where the handle would have left off. Pull it over, go down, and finish off my cup. Now we do still need to finish off the rest of our hand. So for the rest of the hand, I'm going to come underneath the pinky finger here. I'm going to curve over and then down off the canvas. I also want to finish off this line that I had for the thumb, so I am going to pull it over there. Now we have the entire drawing in, so we're going to go ahead and start to paint. So I'm going to be using my bigger flat brush, and I actually want to get the first coat of my hands on first. So I want to get a layer of brown on each hand. I am going to show you how to do different shades if you do want to do like a different shade of brown. But I'm just going to use this burnt sienna first. And I am going to just paint that on the hands, the fingers, even on the nails. I'm covering them completely up. I'm not doing anything in the mug or anything just yet. But the fingers, the actual nails, the entire hand, and the bit of the wrist that you can see, I'm going to get that filled in with brown. All right. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this hand too. So even that nail that's extended, I'm putting a little bit of brown on it. Now on this hand, remember we did the handle and there's a little piece of the finger underneath the handle there. You want to make sure to fill that little piece of finger in too. Now I want to start to get my background filled in. For my background, I'm going to set like a really cozy scene. So underneath the cups and underneath the hands is going to be more like a rug almost. So I'm not going to wash my brush. I'm actually going to keep this brown on here. But I'm going to pick up some white. And I'm just going to kind of flip my brush back and forth across to get this bottom section filled in. So everything underneath the hands, underneath the cups, I want to get this filled in. And I'm doing that flip technique to create like a texture. If you want yours to be a bit smoother or if you want a different color, remember it's completely up to you. You just want to fill it all completely in. All right, now once you have that in, I'm still not going to wash my brush. I want the top of my background to be a little bit more muted, but I still want you to be able to see that it's going to be like where your tree would be at. So we're kind of, you know, bumping cocos in front of, we're kind of bumping hot chocolate cups in front of the Christmas tree. So I am going to switch to black. And what I want to do first is kind of map out where my tree is going to go. So I'm just going to do an angled line there, an angled line there. And everything behind the line, I'm going to get filled in. And because you still have that white on your brush, some of it is going to be a bit gray or a bit muted. That's completely fine. That's what we want. Now, once you have that, we're going to go in and add a bit of a muted Christmas tree. Now, I'm still not going to wash my brush, but that's because I want a bit of a darker green. So on my plate, I'm going to take some of my yellow and mix it with a bit of my blue. Keep in mind, the more blue you use, the darker your green will be. The more yellow you use, the lighter it'll be. And the black on your brush will definitely make it a bit darker. And I'm just going to come in and let's draw a line down the middle first so we can see where we're pulling from. And from there, I'm going to pull some lines out. Now, as I pull these lines out, I am pulling them over into the area of the black that we did. So it is going to overlap it a bit. And I'm going to use a little bit of white so you can kind of see what I'm saying. So I'm pulling these lines over. And as I go further down, I want the lines to go a little bit further out until I get down to the hand. And I'm going to do that on both sides of that line that I made. And if you need to switch to a smaller brown brush or a smaller baby brush, you definitely can. I'm going to take a little bit more white and kind of add some highlighted lines in there, just giving a little more detail. I'm just following the lines that I already made. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Now, once you have your entire background in, I'm going to go in and start to fill in my cups. I'm going to let my hands dry a little bit, but I'm going to work on my cups, and I'm switching to my medium round brush. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get a layer of hot cocoa in there. So you can use your brown as is, or you can make it a little darker by mixing brown with a little bit of black. And of course, hot cocoa is a bit milky too, so you want to add in a little bit of white to your mixture. So I mixed up brown, black, and a little bit of white. And I'm going to go in and fill in the openings of both of my cups. Now that I have the first layer of my hot cocoa in, I am going to go in and fill in my cups. I want both of my cups to be red. If you like the bright red as is, you can use it as is. Or you can mix up red and a little bit of black to give you more of like a burgundy. But I am going to just wash that brown off. And I'm going to go right into my red. And I'm going to fill both cups in. So don't forget about the handles as well. You want to go back into the hands and get those handles filled in. And if you need to switch to the smaller brush to get around any of your like fingers or anything, feel free to do so. But if you're comfortable with the medium brush, you can use it as is and just fill in your cups. All right, now once you have the cups filled in, before I finish up with those, while they're still wet, I want to add a little bit of a highlight. So I'm adding a little bit of white to my brush, and I'm just going to kind of almost not outline, but just add a highlight right on the cup. You want to make sure you follow the shape that's already there though. I'm going to do the same thing to this one, just in a different spot. And now you just want to wash your brush off because we're going to use this medium brush to get our hands filled in. Now for the hands, I'm going to show you some different skin tones, but we want to get the palms of our hands filled in first. So I'm going to mix up white and a little bit of brown. And I'm just mixing that right on my plate. White, little bit of brown, just so that I have a bit of a pale color. And for this hand here, where we drew that line behind or underneath the thumb, and where it kind of curved in front of the wrist. I'm going to fill all of that in. Now over on this hand, I am going to fill in the line. So that line that we drew from the thumb and it goes down to the wrist, I'm going to fill in that small little area under there. Now once you have both palms filled in, I'm going to show you how you can fill in some different shades or different skin tones. Now if you like that brown as is, you can simply do a second layer of the brown as is. If you want to go lighter, you can mix up brown and white or brown, yellow, and white for a caramel tone, and you can get your entire hand filled in. Just keep in mind, you want your hand to be darker than your palm. So whatever color you choose, just make it a bit darker than your palm. Now if you want to go even darker, you can mix up brown and a little bit of black. Remember, the black does turn it dark really quickly, so you don't need a whole lot. And again, that's just if you want a darker brown shade. But whatever shade you choose, you want to go ahead and get all of the fingers filled in, the entire hand. Just don't worry about the nails this time. You don't have to fill the nails in. All right, now once you have all of that filled in, so you got your hands filled in, your palms filled in. The only thing we didn't fill in was the fingers. But before we move into the fingernails, I'm going to go back into the cups and into the tree. So for the cups, and I'm using my smallest brush, I want to make some little marshmallows. So I'm going to simply make some little squares and fill them in. They don't have to be perfect. And if yours is still, if your cocoa is still wet, then you can always just give it a second to dry before you start this part. But I'm just adding in some little squares. And you don't have to do a whole lot. I'm probably just going to do about 2 or 3. Now once you feel like you have enough of the marshmallows, I'm going to keep using white, and I'm going to add a few little lights on my tree. So I'm just going to add some little white dots. If you want different colors, it's completely up to you. You can do the light bulbs that you want. Again, I wanted this to be a little more subtle or muted in the background, so I'm not going to go too crazy with the lights, or the colors of the lights rather. I'm just going to stick to white, or you can even do yellow and yellow by itself, or mix yellow and white to keep it subtle. And then once you are done with that, now we can go back into the hands. Now for my guy's hand, or again, whose ever hand you want it to be, you can do more of a neutral tone. So I'm going to take some of my brown, and I'm still using my smallest brush. I'm going to take some of my brown, little bit of white, and I'm going to add just a very small amount of red to the mix, because I don't want it to be the exact same color as my palm. I want it to have more of a red or rose kind of like tone to it. And I'm going to go in and fill in the fingernails. Now for my other hand, I'm going to do blue nails. So I'm not going to wash my brush. I'm actually just going to take some of the blue on my plate and fill in my nails here. And these nails were a little bit longer and more like oval shapes. But you can do the shape of your choice. You can make them as long or as short as you want. You just want to fill them in. And then remember, we had some little fingernails here that were cut off because her hand is kind of back into her palm. So you want to make sure to fill in the tops of those nails too. Now, once you have done that, if you would like to give your painting a second to dry, you definitely can. Or if you want to hit it with the blow dryer, you can do that as well. But I'm going to move right into my outline. So I want to outline everything and really make it clean and make it pop. If you like yours where it is, remember, you can leave it as is. But I'm going to outline everything in black. And I'm going to use my smallest brush to do that. And just a little bit of black paint. So I'm outlining the cup. I'm outlining the hands, the nails. The only thing I'm not going to outline is anything in the background. But everything else, I'm going to give it a nice outline. All right, now once you have outlined everything and really cleaned it up and made it pop, if there's anything extra you want to add, whether it's adding initials or names on the cups, designing the nails, anything that you want to add is completely up to you. But before you are completely finished, the last thing you want to make sure to do is sign your painting. And you now have your very own Cozy with Coco. Thank you all so much for painting with me today. And remember, like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. And I will see you in the next tutorial.